We're learning more about a deadly altercation at a strip club in Glendale last night. Police say one of the victims is dead, 3 others are injured, and the suspect, Kyle Swain, is also dead. 9 News reporter Allie Levine explains what we know about him so far.
Crime scene tape and police lights surrounded Shotgun Willie's Friday night. Glendale police say Kyle Swain entered the strip club wielding a large knife just before 10 o'clock. Police say he stabbed 2 members of the staff, a patron, and a security guard. That security guard shot and killed Swain. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Of the 4 victims, police say 1 man died. 1 is said to be in critical condition. The other 2 are stable. According to police, Swain was a frequent customer of the Glendale strip club. In recent weeks, he was told he was no longer welcome back because of, quote, erratic behavior. Shotgun Willie's has not responded to questions about the details of Swain's alleged behavior. Court records show in 2011, Swain was convicted of assault with a deadly weapon, a Class 4 felony.
Shotgun Willie's released a statement today. The club says it is mourning the loss of the employee killed trying to stop Swain and is, quote, focused on the safety, health, and well-being of our staff and providing them with access to counseling services and other resources to cope during this difficult time.